What's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be going over the Bay Area real estate market statistics for June of 2022. My name is Sean and my wife and I are multi-millionaire real estate investors with 32 units in our portfolio. And on this channel, we go over personal finance tips to help you become an investing boss. So if you're interested in growing your net worth, then be sure to subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this one. In today's video, we're going to be going over the market statistics for Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, Alameda County, Contra Costa County, and San Francisco County. We're going to be looking over the market statistics that realtors use to determine the health of the market. So if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home in the Bay Area, then you definitely need to check out this video all the way to the end. So we get our information from the MLS itself. So all the realtors that try to sell a property use this MLS, also known as a multiple listing service, to post their properties to market to the public. And of course, Redfin and Zillow take all of that information from the MLS and put it on their websites. So we're getting the information straight from the source. So the first thing we're gonna look at is Santa Clara County single family homes and check out their statistics there. The first one we look at is the average days on market to sales to list price ratio. So if this is your first time watching this video, don't worry, I'll go over what all this means. What days on market means is how long it takes for a property to be out in the open from when a listing agent posted on the internet to when it actually gets a contract accepted and goes pending. So as you can see here, the bar charts are the average days on market. And for the past few months, we've been seeing them at the 14, 15, 16 day range down to 10 days in March and April. And now we're at 11 days. So it takes a little bit longer, but still it's very fast. If you think about it, if I post something on a Tuesday, then 11 days later, you already have a property that's under contract. So likely these agents are maybe doing 1 or 2 open house showings, and then that's it. They'll take the best and final offer. Now this thing is pretty interesting here. This line chart here is the sales to list price ratio. So just because you list a property for $1 million doesn't mean that the property will actually be sold for $1 million. People are putting their offers, sometimes higher, sometimes lower. But on average, you can see here, at least in Santa Clara County, the average has been above 110%. So if you listed it for $1 million, 110% of that would be $1.1 million. So as you can see here in the craziness of March of 2022, the sales price were going at around 118% of the actual list price. So if it was listed for $1 million, then it would actually be sold for $1.18 million or 180 grand above the asking price, which is pretty nuts. Now it's gone down a little bit. You can see that over the few months, it's kind of gone down from 118% down to around 113%. So you can see that people are not kind of bidding over on top of each other as much as they were before. So prices are starting to become a little bit less competitive than they were in the past. Now the next statistic that we look at is the months of inventory. And the months of inventory is a general statistic that realtors use to determine how fast properties are selling, or if we have the same amount of properties on the market and we don't add any more, how long will it take to sell all of the properties on the market given the current pace of properties going on a contract and closing? As you can see here, the months of inventory are increasing. If we look at the actual data itself, we can see that it's now at 1.3 months. Now, this may look like a pretty large jump, right? Almost 50% jump from April, from 0.9 months to 1.3 months. But you have to understand the big picture. Generally speaking, if the months of inventory are under 3 months, then you're in a seller's market and properties are still going really fast. But as a general trend indicator, we do see that there is a little bit of a slowdown here because properties are taking a little bit longer to sell than they were before. All right, next we'll look for the number of homes for sale versus sold. Again, this is a statistic to see how many properties are on the market versus the ones that are actually being closed on. And for the longest time, you can see here that these green bars signify how many properties are being sold that month, meaning you finish your transaction, you close, versus the active ones, which means these are the properties that are still on the market. Now, properties are going on the market and off the market all the time, but generally speaking, these two should be in equilibrium. If there's a higher red bar, that usually means that it's more of a buyer's market because less properties are being closed, there's more inventory on the market, so buyers have more of an option to choose. Whereas if the green bars are higher like they have been in the past year, that means that it's more of a seller's market because everyone's looking for the same amount of inventory, properties being closed, and there's just not enough properties on the market to satisfy this much demand. So you can see here that for the longest time, this green bar was above this red bar here, but just this past month, you can see that the bar has inverted. So you have more properties that are active on the market than properties being sold. So this is very interesting here because you can see that it looks like in May, just a lot of people decided to put their house on the market. Like they thought it was a good time to sell. Maybe they saw a lot of news reports about the market crashing, so they want to just sell it ASAP. And you can see here that less properties were sold this month relative to what they were last month. So it's also very interesting to see in Santa Clara County. I'm pretty sure that these numbers will be even more interesting to see in other counties. You can see here that our sales price over time here has also decreased a little bit from its peak of last month. And if you guys were paying attention to anything from this channel, we saw that this was a huge increase. So the average price in Santa Clara County is at $2.3 million, which is crazy. Now it's gone down just a little bit to $2.28 million. All right, so now we're gonna look at the same statistics, but for the condo and townhouse market in Santa Clara County. So we're also seeing this kind of a hook thing where there was a peak in the early months and now things are trying to go down a little bit. Similarly, it seems like the days on market have increased a little bit, 10 and 11 days are pretty similar, so not a big deal. But it looks like your sales to list price ratio has gone down a little bit, so people aren't bidding on top of each other as much as they were in the past few months. It looks like our months of inventory have also increased a little bit from 0.7 months to 1.2 months. The number of homes for sale versus sold have also inverted here as well. See, look how crazy it was in the beginning of this year. All of these properties were just being picked up so quickly. And then now in May, it has inverted. So way more properties have gone active and less properties have been sold. And if we look at the sales price over time, we can see that the number has gone down a little bit. Don't worry about this particular number here because we are filming on the 1st of June. So this is likely the recording of any deals that happen to just not close in May and just close on June 1st. So this is not representative of the entire month. It will average out over time. Okay, next we're gonna look at San Mateo County single family homes. And wow, this is a very interesting graph. So you can see here that it spiked up so hard, almost 5% in the early months of the year. And now things are starting to taper down a little bit. So now we're at 113%. So again, not too bad, right? If you list a property for $2 million, you can expect a 13% increase or $260,000 over asking. Not bad. And that's on average too. So there's properties that sell for way more and some that don't sell for as much. And your days on market seem to have increased as well. So it seems to be a trend that the days on market are taking a little bit longer. But again, not too bad. 1 or 2 days doesn't make too much of a difference. Your months of inventory here have also increased from 0.9 to 1.1 months. Number of homes for sale versus sold looks like you have a little bit more properties, again, that inversion of that red to green graph. And sales price over time seems to have decreased just a little bit. We had the peak in April, now there's a slight decrease. Okay, now looking at the same statistics for San Mateo County, you can see that the chart has gone down a little bit. Your days on market are the same, and yeah, your sales list price ratio has gone down by 0.5%, if that. So pretty flat in the condo market. Months of inventory here have also increased. Now you're at around 1.5 months. And your number of homes for sale versus sold. Wow, look at this. You again have this spike. I mean, condos in San Mateo County and San Francisco County have not been doing well for the past 2 years, mostly due to COVID. Condos in these areas are very expensive, so people are thinking, why should I spend all this money to buy a condo in these neighborhoods if I can just buy a single family home with a large backyard somewhere else? So you can see here that for the most part, we've always had more opportunities versus properties being sold. And looking at the sales price over time, you can see that it has decreased a little bit from its peak of April. Now we're gonna look at single family homes for San Francisco County, and what a spike down. So for the longest time, we were seeing these crazy numbers in San Francisco where people were bidding 23% over the asking price. Again, insane. That's a $500,000 increase for a $2 million property. Now that number has tapered down, but it's still pretty high. It's at 120% or so. So people are still bidding 20% over the asking price. Again, for San Francisco, I do believe the basic strategy is to list your property way below market value so that people will then bid it up like crazy. It makes you look good as an agent, right? Oh, I sold my property for 20% over asking. But if everyone's listing low, then it really is a meaningless number. And here too, you can see that the days on market have increased by a little bit. All right, the months of inventory here actually have decreased, surprisingly. So instead of 1.2 months, we're now at 1.1 months. But given the history of San Francisco, you can see that it's been high for a very long time. People are just not buying too many houses in SF. Okay, now looking at the number of homes for sale versus sold, you just have this large red graph. It looks like it's been relatively steady. There's actually been less properties on the market and the number of homes that were sold have remained somewhat the same, slightly higher month over month, but and that's why the months of inventory have actually decreased because you are seeing these same trends, but it's just slightly more skewing towards closing properties. And sales prices over time have remained high, but they are kind of trending down a little bit. So, the peak was at 2.536 and now we're at 2.434. So almost a 100K drop from March. Okay, so now we're looking at the condos and townhouse market. This is very interesting. So we can see here that you have this number here, which I think was wrong, 60 days on average in January. That's kind of crazy for SF. But anyway, so we have 33 days on market, which means that it takes quite a long time to sell a property, especially a condo or townhouse in SF. And your percentage has gone down to 106%. Your months of inventory here seems to have increased a little bit, and we're at 3.2 months. So as you can see here, like the condo market in SF, even though it is in the Bay Area, is pretty much a buyer's market, right? People are just not buying condos, and they haven't been for the past 2 years or so. I mean, look how bad it was during the peak of COVID, 9 months. It just wasn't moving at all. And if we look at the number of homes for sale versus sold, you can see this very funny graph here where everything is just up, right? Like you have so many properties that are active and so few that are actually being sold. So it's, it kind of sucks to own a condo in SF, and it's just been that way for the past 2 years. And sales price over time have been kind of going up and down here. And right now it's, 1.439. I mean, it's been relatively flat if you just look at this chart here. All right, next we're gonna look at Alameda County, single family homes. And you can see here that the days on market have increased very slightly from 11 days to 12 days, and your sales to list price ratio have decreased to 118%. So the cool thing about Alameda County is these numbers are, quote unquote real. I don't think agents are really deliberately listing their properties super low just to get this, 22% increase. People want to live in Alameda County. It is affordable, you get a lot of room, and so a lot of buyers are picking up properties at pretty good prices and bidding over each other for them. Your months of inventory here have actually surprisingly gone up. So now we're around 1.2 months on average. And your number of homes for sale versus sold have, again, seen this spike of a lot of properties on the market. This is very interesting that I've seen this on almost every single chart we've seen so far, that there is a spike of properties on the market. And the amount of properties being sold have either remained steady or they've actually decreased. Sales prices over time have actually increased. This is the first time I've seen that in this whole chart today. So prices have actually increased from its peak of last month. Again, don't worry about this one. This is just one data point from today. Now let's check out Alameda County condos and townhouses. So you can see here that the average days on market have remained pretty similar, 14 days. I think this one's maybe like 14 and a half days. I don't know why this chart is a little bit higher than this one. And right here, the sale to list price ratio has gone down to 108%. Next, we'll look at the months of inventory. All right, so the months of inventory looks like it has increased from 0.9 months to 1.3 months. Again, pretty standard from what we've seen throughout the rest of the Bay Area. Number of homes for sale versus sold. Again, this inversion where you have more properties that are on the market and less properties being sold this month. Sales price over time have actually increased again. Alameda County is very strong. Okay, Contra, Costa County, single family homes. So it looks like there's a pretty sharp decrease from 112% down to 109%. So people are bidding less for the properties. And there's a slight uptick in the days on market. So instead of 11 days, you're now at 12 days. Months of inventory have increased from 0.9 months to 1.1 months. So just a pretty steady increase. And look at the number of homes for sale versus sold. You can see that, again, more properties are on the market than properties are being sold. Sales prices over time have remained relatively flat. Again, don't worry about this number right here. And finally, we'll look at condos and townhouses for Contra, Costa County. So Contra, Costa County, condos looks like it's taking 15 days to sell properties, so it's taking longer. And the sale to list price ratio has decreased from 109% to 107%. And it looks like your months of inventory have increased from 0.7 months to 1.1 months. Your number of homes for sale versus sold here, again, the inversion on every graph we've seen. More properties that are active, less properties being sold. Sales price over time have also decreased. So this is the Bay Area real estate market update for June of 2022. Again, we look backwards at the months that we had, so we only have data for May. The most interesting thing that I've seen so far is the fact that more properties are on the market and less properties are being closed. This is the very first month that I've seen that. Usually, there's a cyclical market. Spring months are the hottest months, usually have the best prices, properties get picked up and sold really quickly. Then during the summer, people take a little bit of a break while they go on summer vacation. They don't really want to move their kids. In the fall, things pick up again, and the winter, the market is dead. My prediction, I think that the market is going to turn. I think that we're going to see less properties being sold, 10, 15% over the asking price. They'll probably hit just the asking price. I think there will be more of these red spikes where people are trying to sell their properties and they're not being closed as much. I do believe there is some buyer fatigue out there, because buyers are spending weeks and weeks going with their agents looking at properties and not being able to get them, having to bid 200, 500,000 over asking. It's a bad taste in your mouth. On top of that, the interest rates have continued to increase. So when interest rates increase, your purchasing power goes down because you can afford less on your mortgage. So when that happens, naturally prices will also go down as well. So I believe all these things are happening. I've been saying them since February of this year. Again, I'm a hard money lender, so I do see these loan things happen all the time. I am seeing appraisals come in lower than expected. So these things are happening. I would suggest as a Bay Area purchaser or seller, if you're a seller, maybe it's a good time to sell your property now. If you're a buyer, make sure you're buying it knowing that you're gonna stay in it for a very long time. If you're trying to be more speculative with your real estate purchases, don't know if you're gonna stay there for a very long time, could be a good idea to wait. Just my opinion. I probably wouldn't purchase anything at this very moment unless you knew you're gonna stay in that property for a very long time. But let me know your thoughts about the Bay Area real estate market down in the comment section below. And if you guys have enjoyed more videos like this, then check out this video that I made about why interest rates will crash the housing market. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. Take care.